Former Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi, led a bipartisan delegation to visit the Dalai Lama in Dharamsala, India. During a public event, she made a heartfelt statement: His Holiness Dalai Lama, with his message of knowledge, tradition, compassion, purity of soul, and love, will live a long time and his legacy will live forever. These words weren't just a mere tribute, they were a profound recognition of the Dalai Lama's impact on humanity. Pelosi's statement radiated deep symbolism, emphasizing the timeless influence of the Dalai Lama, not just on the Tibetan people, but on the entire world. It made me wonder, how often do we stop and think about the people who make this kind of difference? If you believe in the values of empathy, love, and understanding, subscribe to our channel and explore how we can bring these into our world. His Holiness Dalai Lama, with his message of knowledge, tradition, compassion, purity of soul, and love. In this opening phrase, Pelosi beautifully acknowledged the essence of the Dalai Lama's influence. Each of these elements, knowledge, tradition, compassion, purity of soul, and love, tells a story, doesn't it? Let's explore what they mean in the context of the Dalai Lama's remarkable journey, knowledge and tradition. The Dalai Lama is not just a figurehead, he embodies the immense cultural and philosophical heritage of Tibetan Buddhism. This is the knowledge that isn't limited to dusty texts, it's a living wisdom, full of practical teachings on mindfulness, compassion, and self-awareness that have resonated across boundaries. When Pelosi spoke of knowledge and tradition, she reminded us of the Dalai Lama's role as a bridge between the ancient wisdom of the Himalayas and the challenges we face today. Isn't this balance what we all need in our lives? In an age where many of us are caught between our cultural roots and modern-day demands, the Dalai Lama's teachings offer a compass, a gentle reminder that fulfillment lies not in accumulation but in presence and understanding. The Dalai Lama's knowledge is not merely theoretical. It is deeply practical. His teachings on compassion, patience, and non-attachment have helped millions of people navigate the complexities of modern life. How often do we get caught up in the rush of our daily routines, forgetting the value of a mindful breath or a moment of stillness? The Dalai Lama's message serves as a gentle nudge, reminding us of the deeper currents that flow beneath the surface of our hectic lives. He invites us to reconnect with ourselves, to remember that wisdom isn't just about what we know, but about how we live. It's about applying ancient insights to our most pressing contemporary problems, about seeing that the way forward is often found by looking within. Compassion, compassion, such a simple yet transformative word. Compassion is the heart of the Dalai Lama's teachings, and it's something the world desperately needs right now. He speaks of compassion not as a lofty ideal, but as a practical guide to help mend human relationships and bring about peace. Isn't it powerful to think that a single word, a single feeling, could change the way we see one another? Pelosi's emphasis on compassion was a reflection of how the Dalai Lama has urged both leaders and citizens to open their hearts, to look at the suffering around them and take action. His belief that compassion is the antidote to division and conflict is something we should all internalize. Especially in these times of global turmoil, compassion isn't always easy. It requires us to step beyond our own perspectives, to see the world through someone else's eyes. It means feeling the pain of others and choosing to respond with kindness rather than indifference. How often do we choose convenience over compassion, even in small moments? The Dalai Lama's teachings remind us that compassion isn't a weakness, it's a profound strength. It has the power to transform relationships, communities, and even nations. Imagine if we all practiced just a little more compassion each day. How different would our world look? Wouldn't we be more united, more understanding, and more at peace? Purity of soul and love. The purity of the Dalai Lama's soul is visible in his humility and unwavering dedication to his spiritual beliefs, even in the face of immense challenges. It's rare to see a leader whose heart remains untouched by power or fame. His purity reminds us of the importance of staying true to our essence, beyond all the superficial layers that the world often demands we wear. And love, This is the kind of love that connects all beings, the kind that goes beyond romance or friendship. It is the love that binds humanity together. Pelosi's recognition of the Dalai Lama's purity and love is not just praise, it's a reminder to all of us of the qualities that make life truly meaningful. How often do we pause to recognize such love in our own lives? Love, as the Dalai Lama teaches it, is not selective. It is not limited to those who are closest to us or those who share our beliefs. It is expansive, encompassing all living beings. This kind of love requires us to let go of our judgments, to see the inherent worth in every person we meet. It is a love that is deeply connected to compassion, a love that wants nothing more than for others to be free from suffering. This purity of love is what makes the Dalai Lama's message so powerful. It transcends barriers of culture, religion, and nationality, reminding us that at our core, we are all the same. We all long for happiness. We all wish to avoid suffering, and we are all interconnected in ways we often forget. Will live a long time and his legacy will live forever. Pelosi's statement carried a dual meaning, a hope for the Dalai Lama's long life, as well as an affirmation of the permanence of his influence. Let's dive deeper into this, a wish for longevity. Pelosi's words were much more than just ceremonial pleasantries. In Tibetan culture, wishing for the long life of a Lama, especially one as significant as the Dalai Lama, is deeply meaningful. For the Tibetan people, the Dalai Lama is not only their spiritual leader but also a symbol of cultural endurance and hope. Pelosi's wish for his long life speaks to a universal hope, the desire for someone whose wisdom and light guide us through the darkness to remain with us. It's the kind of hope we hold for all the people who inspire us, isn't it? The Dalai Lama's presence is a beacon of hope for millions. His smile, his laughter, his gentle demeanor, all of these embody a spirit that has refused to be broken, even in the face of exile and political adversity. Imagine the strength it takes to continue advocating for peace and compassion when your own homeland has been taken from you. The Dalai Lama's resilience is a testament to the power of the human spirit. Pelosi's wish for his long life is not just about his physical presence, it's about the continued presence of his wisdom, his compassion, and his unwavering dedication to non-violence. It's a wish for the light he brings to this world to continue shining brightly. An everlasting legacy. Pelosi's mention of the Dalai Lama's legacy speaks volumes about his impact on a global scale. Despite facing exile and political obstacles, the Dalai Lama's influence knows no borders. He has become a symbol of peace, resilience, and humanity for millions around the world. This legacy isn't just about what he says, but what he represents: non-violence, human rights, and the interconnectedness of all beings. What could be more important than that? Pelosi's statement is a powerful reminder that his teachings on compassion, mindfulness, and unity are not bound by time or circumstance. They are eternal, a legacy that will continue to shape generations. The idea of legacy is something we all think about at some point in our lives. What will we leave behind when we are gone? The Dalai Lama's legacy is one of profound love and unwavering commitment to peace. It is a legacy that has touched countless lives, inspiring people to live with more compassion and less fear. His teachings on mindfulness have found their way into schools, workplaces, and even prisons, helping people from all walks of life find a sense of inner peace. Isn't that the kind of legacy we should all strive for, one that makes the world a better place, even after we are no longer here? Context and significance of Pelosi's statement. Pelosi's words also reflect her enduring commitment to the cause of Tibetan freedom and human rights. Her visit to Dharamsala wasn't just a diplomatic gesture. It was a declaration of solidarity. In a world that often overlooks the struggles of marginalized communities, this visit was a reaffirmation of the belief that the fight for dignity and justice cannot be silenced. Isn't that what true leadership looks like? Standing up for what is right, even when it's not easy. The Tibetan struggle is not just a political issue, it is a human issue. It is about the right to live freely, to practice one's culture and religion without fear of oppression. Pelosi's visit was a powerful reminder that the world has not forgotten Tibet. It was a message to the Tibetan people that their struggle is seen, that their voices matter. Imagine what that must mean to a community that has faced so much hardship, to know that there are people in positions of power who are willing to stand with them. Pelosi's actions were a beacon of hope, reminder that the fight for justice is never in vain. Pelosi's emphasis on the Dalai Lama's legacy also challenges the narrative China has tried to shape regarding Tibet's future, particularly the reincarnation process of the Dalai Lama. Her words are a reminder that spiritual leadership cannot be manipulated or controlled. In this sense, Pelosi's visit was not just about acknowledging the Dalai Lama's influence, it was a call to action for all of us, a call to recognize and preserve the cultural and spiritual autonomy of oppressed peoples. How often do we find ourselves moved to act in the face of injustice, but let fear hold us back? Pelosi's actions remind us that courage is contagious. The significance of Pelosi's statement goes beyond the immediate context of her visit. It speaks to the broader struggle for human rights and dignity around the world. It is a reminder that the fight for justice is not limited to any one people or place. It is a universal struggle that requires all of us to stand together. Whether it is the struggle of the Tibetan people, the fight for racial equality, or the battle for gender rights, the message is the same: we must stand up for one another. We must be willing to speak out, even when it is difficult, even when it comes at a cost. This is the kind of leadership that inspires change, the kind of leadership that makes a difference. The Dalai Lama's global influence. The Dalai Lama has become more than a Tibetan leader. He is a moral compass for millions worldwide. His teachings on mindfulness, compassion, and interconnectedness have inspired not only individuals but entire movements seeking a more just and peaceful world. Think about how extraordinary that is, one man's message rippling across the globe, touching hearts from different walks of life, transcending cultural, religious, and geographic barriers. It is incredible how a single voice can bring people together, urging us to recognize our shared humanity and the need for empathy in an increasingly divided world. Pelosi's words capture this beautifully, emphasizing the Dalai Lama's universal appeal. His teachings are a reminder that the pursuit of happiness, mental well-being, and ethical leadership doesn't need to be in conflict with modern life. In fact, they are the keys to a life well lived. The Dalai Lama has shown that true fulfillment comes not from material wealth or power, but from cultivating inner peace, compassion, and a sense of purpose. His message encourages us to look within ourselves, to find harmony in the midst of chaos, and to lead with kindness in all aspects of our lives. Imagine the impact if more leaders and individuals embraced these values, how transformative it could be for our communities, our countries, and our world. In the West, the Dalai Lama's teachings have found fertile ground among those seeking a sense of spirituality that feels compatible with modern life. His emphasis on mindfulness has influenced fields as diverse as psychology, education, and business. In many ways, he has helped bridge the gap between the spiritual and the secular, showing that mindfulness and compassion are not just religious concepts but human ones. Imagine how different our workplaces, schools, and communities could be if we all embraced these teachings. His influence has extended to CEOs, athletes, educators, and even politicians, all of whom have found value in his simple yet profound message, that true happiness comes not from wealth or status, but from kindness and connection. The Dalai Lama's teachings on interconnectedness are particularly poignant in today's world. We live in an era where technology has connected us more than ever before, yet many of us feel more isolated and divided. The Dalai Lama's message is a reminder that true connection goes beyond social media likes or virtual friendships. It is about seeing the humanity in each other, recognizing that our happiness is tied to the happiness of others. This idea of interconnectedness is not just a spiritual concept, it is a practical guide for how we can create a more compassionate and just society. Imagine if, instead of focusing on what divides us, we focused on what unites us. How much more peaceful and joyful could our world be? The symbolic power of Pelosi's visit. Pelosi's visit to Dharamsala wasn't just a political move. It was a deeply symbolic act. In a world often driven by power and materialism, Pelosi's visit served as a reminder of the importance of spiritual values. The Dalai Lama represents something pure, a conscience for humanity. His message goes beyond politics. It speaks to the deepest parts of us, urging us to be more compassionate, more loving, and more just. Pelosi's recognition of his values is a call for all of us to prioritize what truly matters in this fleeting life, not wealth or power, but love, connection, and kindness. The symbolism of Pelosi's visit is profound. It was a statement that, despite the geopolitical complexities, there are values that transcend politics, values like compassion, justice, and human dignity. By visiting the Dalai Lama, Pelosi was not just expressing support for the Tibetan people, she was standing up for the idea that spiritual values matter, that they have a place in our global conversations. In a world where material success is often equated with happiness, the Dalai Lama's teachings remind us that true fulfillment comes from within. How often do we chase after things, believing they will bring us happiness, only to find that the joy is fleeting? Pelosi's visit was a reminder to look deeper, to seek the kind of happiness that endures. The Dalai Lama's influence on the world stage is not about political power or economic might, it is about the power of the human spirit. His message resonates because it speaks to something universal within us all. It reminds us that we are all connected, that our actions have an impact on others, and that we have a responsibility to care for one another. Pelosi's visit was a recognition of this influence, a statement that the values the Dalai Lama represents are just as important as any political or economic agenda. In fact, they are more important, because they speak to the kind of world we want to create, a world where compassion, understanding, and love are at the forefront. Conclusion: Nancy Pelosi's statement in Dharamsala was rich in symbolism and deeply layered with meaning. It celebrated the Dalai Lama's dedication to compassion, knowledge, and peace, but it was also more than that. It was a challenge to all of us. A challenge to live these values, to make them our own. Isn't that what we all strive for? To leave behind a legacy that uplifts others, just like the Dalai Lama has done? In a world marked by division and uncertainty, the Dalai Lama's message remains more relevant than ever. Pelosi's words were both a tribute to an extraordinary leader and a hopeful vision for the future, a vision where knowledge, tradition, compassion, purity of soul, and love aren't just words, but guiding principles. Let's take up this challenge. Let's let the Dalai Lama's legacy inspire us to create a world filled with understanding, empathy, and love. After all, isn't that what it means to be truly human? We have the power to carry forward the Dalai Lama's legacy in our own lives. It doesn't require grand gestures or political influence. It starts with small acts of kindness, with choosing compassion over judgment, with seeing the humanity in each person we encounter. Imagine the kind of world we could create if we all chose to live this way. A world where compassion is the norm, where love is the driving force, and where our shared humanity is celebrated above all else. Pelosi's visit was a reminder that the fight for justice, dignity, and compassion is ongoing, and it is a fight that requires all of us. It is a reminder that the values the Dalai Lama embodies, kindness, wisdom, humility, are not just for spiritual leaders. They are for all of us. They are the values that make us truly human, the values that give our lives meaning and purpose. So let us be inspired by the Dalai Lama's legacy. Let us take his teachings to heart and make them a part of our daily lives. Let us create a world where compassion is the foundation of our actions, where love is the guiding principle, and where we recognize that we are all in this together. Isn't that the kind of world we all want to live in? A world where knowledge, tradition, compassion, purity of soul, and love are not just ideals, but realities. Let's make that vision a reality, together.